you know, there Judaism and the so-called ecstatic or prophetic line of Judaism, as opposed to the theologic tradition that you find the possibility of these first-person articulations, but addressing to others. That was the point. They never wrote it for themselves. They're always addressed to others. I'm doing this because a friend asked, or I'm doing this to help the community, or I'm doing this because, you know, essentially it was ordered to do it. Rabbi Dober had to do it because the community of the Hasids were, and Chabad Hasids were getting a little bit like, well, wandering a little bit, I guess. Ruz Baham, a friend, said, will you write these things for me, you know, and I don't want to do it, but okay. But it's always for another that they wrote this. And so the ones I found, not just because I wanted scatterings of this, but they tended to discern in quite interesting ways certain levels, not just union, you know, it's like, well, centuries ago, a prayer of quiet, which in a sense is different from the prayer of consolation. It's different from the prayer of spiritual delight, which is different from the prayer of rapture, which is, you know, different from prayer of union, or within the prayer of union, and spiritual marriage and betrothal and within union, and they get, and in the Islamic tradition, like I said, beyond union, you have fana, which is self-annihilation, and then beyond annihilation is subsistence, giving back of the soul by God. And it's a whole different structure, so it's much more interesting. Union's kind of boring. Because we're so used to like union with God. I mean, it's a difficult problem. What does it mean when I say I am truth? You know, Bistami and others. But well, I mean, personally, I always found Dante, you know, the paradise, the most boring part of it. You know, purgatory, that really had a lot of movement to it. You know, Inferno's pretty cool too. But because it's more dynamic, and I think some of these descriptions of the earlier pre-union things, that they're much more questioning and not so self-sure, and so they're spending much more time trying to articulate those structures. So for me, as a phenomenologist, anyway, you know, I'm interested in some of those earlier or different structures, and so that's why, you know, I picked from other sources to kind of back up or give another angle, if you like, on these main other figures that I selected, but that was the reason why. Please.
Did you go with what you call disposition of the self of each of these three people in the time that they're using? Because that seems to be sometimes what gets exposed.
Oh, in what sense do you mean?
Whether the kind of efforts they were making to have these experiences.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, that's a manner, that's a good point, and that kind of testifies to the authority of these experiences. Although, I mean, ultimately, yes, that wasn't my original motivation, but that does make a difference on the kind of lives they live. And this disposition of the self is literally the disposition of the self, kind of forgetfulness of the self, and the struggle with what is the self. I mean, that's a whole other issue that I treat in this work, but, you know, what do we do with the self then? Where is the self? Can we speak meaningfully of the self, or mindness, and is there a sense of mindness? Because this goes to the issue of union in that case, or more particularly the issue of individuation. Is there a personal individuation after all or not? And that's a set of issues that relies with that. So literally, the disposition of the self is an important issue to what sense these are the experiences that we can discern. Well, why don't we enjoy the drink and the food that we have back there? Thank you very much.